I suppose this is where I'm supposed to talk, right? Sorry, I was grabbing something quick because I'm just getting comfortable in the control center here of the Paranormal Portal. But welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday night. It's our first show live stream of the week. However, I've been off to the races these last several days. Oh my God. There's been so much going on with doing interviews on other shows, doing interviews for the podcast. And I had 4 yesterday. It was just crazy. I think it was 4. Well, it felt like 15. I loved every one of them. I had a great time and had a lot of fun talking to Tommy Callum out of the UK. Tommy and I recorded an episode for his podcast, which is coming up. And once I get that link, I'll, of course, post it on our social media, and you can check out that show yourself. If you heard me interviewed, I don't know. I mean, I've got a gajillion stories, but a lot of times I bring up the same ones, so I don't know. I don't know if watching more than one interview for me is maybe that much of a draw or not. I don't know. But anyway, I love doing it. Tommy was a great guy. He's an avid listener of the podcast too, which is really cool. And we were having a great time. And I'm going to get him on the portal on our podcast as well. And I don't know, got a lot of things coming up still this week that I've got to get to and figure out and get done. So no doubt it's been busy. Also, I've been getting mail, which is really cool. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to ever send something to the Paranormal Portal, you want to send me something from your area, some artwork that you did and want it hung up in the studio here or whatever, please do. I love that kind of stuff. That to me is really exciting. It's exciting to get mail because, you know, you guys are so incredibly thoughtful anyway, which is amazing. But I got a package from Maggie, which is really cool. Of course, our Maggie from Australia. And she sent me a bull roarer. I got a bull roarer now. You know, those like this, and you swing it in a circle and it goes woo, woo, woo. It's just the coolest sound. But I realized how absolutely out of shape I am, and so it's a bit aerobic to be out there going rrr, rrr, rrr. And it was a lot of fun though, taking it outside and trying it out. And it's really kind of a cool thing. It like you swing it around and it spins in the air, and that's what makes that buzzing sound. And then when it spins out one direction, then it turns and spins the other direction. So you just keep whipping it around. As long as you can do it, it'll keep roaring. And it's just the coolest, I don't know, kind of haunting sound. I was just so thrilled to get this. So thank you, Maggie. She also sent the minion a boomerang. She made a couple of handmade dolls. One of Sheldon, which was cool to go along with Nessie's caricatures of us that she made of Don and I. And so that was really cool to have a Sheldon doll made. He's up there next to my doll up on the wall above the Paranormal Portal sign up here. You can't quite see it. It's a little off camera. But thank you so much, Maggie. That was so cool. It was a lot of fun to get that and to open it up. It's like Christmas came early. But not only that, I meant to show you guys this a while ago, but I just realized that I just forgot, and I'm going to show you guys tonight. And this is from our very own Barbara Mora. Barbara is just a sweetheart, an amazingly warm, loving person. And she was at Vernal having a booth of her own where she does her ceramic stuff, and she's amazing at it. You should check out her work if you ever get a chance. But she made this for me. It's a wall hanger. And it is a duplicate of the petroglyphs that were done by Native Americans, I don't know, hundreds or more years ago. And they're found on a cave in, I think, California. And she made a copy of that for me and gave it to me in Vernal. And I just thought, my God, this is so cool. And if you're into Bigfoot, you're going to recognize this. If you didn't see it, here it is again. But it even looks like it's part of the cave wall. She just did such a beautiful job with it. And I was so excited that she gave this to me. So, Barbara, thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't put it out before now. But this is about the coolest thing ever. And I really, really appreciate it. And it will be hung up in short order here. I'm going to either try to rearrange stuff here to hang it up here and the bull roarer as well, because that's just cool. But I'm going to keep doing that bull roarer. That was fun. And then I got another package that I'm going to open on stream right now. And this is from our very own Sinfully Wicked, who sent me a box. So it said, be careful if you're opening it with a knife. So I'm being really careful. I don't want to break nothing, wreck nothing, whatever. But I'm opening it right now. I did cut some of the tape before we went live. And I'm just opening it now. So we'll see what she sent here. I have no idea. I mean, this is literally unboxing right here on the show. So here it is. Got to get it out of the box. There's two of them. What is it? What is it indeed? All right. So let's check this out as I rub it on the microphone. Oh my God, that's so cool. Look at that. That is so cool. It's a little ghost. That is so awesome. And then it's also in this, what is this, a doily or something? Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. That is amazing. That is so pretty. Very, very beautiful stuff. I don't know how people do this. How do you guys do this? I mean, somebody figured this out ages and ages ago, how to twist yarn and tie it around each other and come up with this stuff. But this is great. Now there's one more. Let me open this. That's just really beautiful stuff. There's a note. I found a note. Let's see what it says. Hello, Brent. Just a little thank you for all the time you put into your shows and also for all the laughs. With Halloween coming up, I made a few things for you. I hope you like them. Best wishes, love and light. Sinfully Wicked. P.S. Please do not use the one item on Sheldon. The other item needs to be put under a bright light for up to 30 minutes. I named him Gus. Feel free to rename him. Oh, that's cool. Is this Gus? Does he glow in the dark or something? That is really cool. Okay. Well, let me open up the other one. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. And what else is there? Let's see. Maybe this is Gus. I don't know. We'll find out. Oh. Oh my God. Is that cool? That is awesome. Look at that. I got a whole collection. Maggie made something really cool too. Oh, he's got like a pin in him. Yeah, he's got a pin like a voodoo doll. Oh, that's what he means. That's what she means. Okay, I gotcha. Isn't that awesome? That is so cool. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to hang him up in the studio here as well. I think this is Gus. So this is the ghost. And this is Gus. I like that name, Gus. Very cool. Thank you so much. That is really awesome. Oh, man, that's beautiful stuff. I'm just so impressed by your guys' abilities. Let me show you what Maggie made also. And this is so neat. And it's so beautiful as well. I got to reach up here and get it though. She made a little black-eyed bean. And this is kind of it's kind of legendary on the show, and it goes back to when Don and I were doing a show on black-eyed people, and he was reading an article, and with Don's pronunciation, it sounded like he was saying beans. I'm like, what the hell? Why do you keep saying beans? And so it became this hilarious moment in the history of the Paranormal Portal, and Maggie made a black-eyed bean. It says, let me in on there. That is so awesome. So very cool. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Again, if any of you, others of you want to send things in to have them opened on the show, the post office box address is on paranormalportal.net on the very bottom of the page. I just think this is amazing stuff. This is so cool, and it's so fun. So thank you so much for sending me little pieces of your heart, and I will cherish them always. These are just treasures to me. I just can't thank you guys enough. So it's just fun. I just love this part. So thank you so much, everybody that has, sent things in. and just to help me decorate the room. I got a whole bunch of things on the wall over here that have been sent to me before, but they're off camera. But I look at them all the time, and I really appreciate it. So you guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Sinfully Wicked. I appreciate it. Yeah, they're all adorable. That bean is so cute, too. Yeah, it's just really great stuff. This is amazing. I'm going to have to redo the wall here and put up your guys' stuff behind me as much as some of these other postings of things. Yeah, I just think it's amazing. So thank you. I just wanted to do that on the air because it means a lot to me when you guys send stuff. I know that we've been together for a long time, but it makes me feel like you're a bigger part of my world and I'm a bigger part of your world, and that's just an amazing feeling. So thank you guys so much. That's so very thoughtful and beautiful stuff. All right, we got a lot to get to tonight. It's just you and me. Jimmy would have been here tonight if he could, but he just couldn't make it, so he sends his apologies, and hopefully we'll get him in here soon again. But you're just gonna have to tolerate me until the end of the show. I guess. You guys are my co-host tonight, so by all means, please feel free to jump in. If you've got anything to say, you want me to see something, the ghost is Gus, and no voodoo on Sheldon. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so Gus is the ghost. I gotcha. All right. We got to come up with a name for this guy then. You guys help me name the voodoo doll. I've also up here got my shrunken head that Nessie sent me as well. And so I got this amazing collection of these crafts you guys have been sending me. And Nessie did a scale version of the studio and stuff. It's just so incredibly cool. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to let you guys name this voodoo doll. This is so awesome. I'm afraid either to pull the pin out or to put it back in. I don't know if it's not activated, right? It's funny. That is so cool, but help me come up with a name for the voodoo doll. That's awesome. All right. The voodoo doll is for the comments from the cheap seats. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I can pull it out and poke it a bunch, send that mojo out there. This is making me think about setting my hobby bar higher. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think, we've got a whole collection of incredibly creative people, and for a number of reasons. Like, even if you're not really artistic, I don't care. Send me something. It doesn't matter. It just means so much that it comes from you guys, and you thought enough to send it to me. Hey, Dog Digger came in over in Rumble. Great to see you. Barbara Morris over there as well. We got Tommy Cooper's in the house from Cryptovania. Good to see you, brother. Thank you. Sinfully Wicked, Wizard Moon, Deb Varner, Sarah in Disguise. Great to see you guys. And moving up, John Stevenson is here. Rachel gets it right. I should probably, Wizard Moon, I already said. Cool Hands in here. How you doing, brother? Thanks for coming in. And who have I missed? Who's talking that I haven't said already? John Stevenson, Deb Varner. Yeah, I said Deb already. So Elaine Clifford, how you doing, Elaine? Good to see you. As I'm scrolling up, just saying hi to you guys, greeting you as you come in the door as best I can. Let's see what's else. Drake number 1 is in here. How you doing, Drake? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. And I think that's everybody. Oh yeah, Aussie Tiprat's here. That's good to see you, Aussie Tiprat. Thank you. It's a Mick Dundee mobile phone. Yeah, that's right. The bull roars. Yeah. Well, that's where I became aware of a bull roarer, was from Crocodile Dundee when I was much younger. I was like, oh, that is so cool. And I didn't know, but I remember mentioning it on the show, and then Maggie sent one over. So that was really cool. Very, very cool stuff. But I think I got everybody that's been chatting so far. But let's see. I'm just scrolling up just to be sure. Devin is in here. How you doing, Devin? And Lisa G. Great to see you. Thank you for coming in, Lisa G. That's a new name. Great to meet you. Thanks for giving us a shot here on the portal. By us, I mean me and my many personalities. And the co-hosts, of course. But yeah, it's great to see new names pop up. That's always amazing. And so I hope you like it. I hope you get subscribed. and become part of the family. Todd's in here. How you doing, Todd? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in as well. Grantardo is here, and I think that's Henry Dong is in here. How you doing, Henry? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in as well. Grateful Owl, how are you? Wonderful to have you here as well. So that is everybody that I've got on my chat scroll here. So as I'm just scrolling up the active chat, if you're here and I didn't see you, so much. Jake is here from BLB, Blue Line Bigfoot. Good to see you, brother. Aussie Tiger's in here. Good to see you as well, brother. Awesome. And Chris Cirque is here. Good to see you. Thank you guys for coming in. And it will be an adventure. We're going to be doing the news here shortly. Then we're going to get some ghost stories and other fun-filled evening of strangeness and the unusual, which we excel at here in the portal. So I guess without any further delay, we can get to some news. Are you guys ready to get informed? Find out just what's been going on? Hey, Gruntardo, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. But let's get to the news, and we'll see what you've missed since last Saturday. See what I missed, for that matter. But let's check it out. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for me to news you up. It's time for the news. Most trusted news, ladies and gentlemen. The most trusted news. The GNews rules. Jake, I almost need like a pause just to read what you say and figure out how to say it. You've got this really eclectic way of spelling, but it's awesome. The only news worth listening to. Amen, brother. Thank you so much for your vote of confidence there. I pointed at the camera, but then I realized the camera wasn't on. And I did remember to turn on the ghost radar tonight. And so we'll see if anything of interest pops through on there. It's been really quiet the last several nights. The ghost radar is kind of our Doppler radar here, the weather of the paranormal portal. And that's right here on the lower, well, right here. That's the ghost radar. And it does have a word database built into it too. Is it always paranormal? No. Is it ever paranormal? Maybe. I don't know. But it's fun. And it's interesting, and it does pop off at some interesting times. And if you hear it hiss, I mean, you'll see basically colored dots will appear here on the screen. And the colors represent the intensity of the energy. And if it's like orange or red, then you get this hissing noise, and it's the creepiest damn sound ever, but it'll definitely get our attention. So we'll keep an eye on the news radar. It'll be on your screen throughout the duration of the show. And this one is, it's called X Paranormal Detector. It's an old one. I've had it for about 15, 20 years, I guess. But it still works. It uses the magnetometer on a computer, which can detect electromagnetic anomalies and variations anyway. And when it detects one, it creates a blip on the radar. So it's kind of interesting. It is kind of interesting. So maybe someone will stop in of the other realms and visit us. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. All right. So anyway, let's get to the news. I've got some articles pulled up. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I always say this at the lead into every show, but I really do need to keep saying this because I really want you guys to help support these sites, visit these sites, and check them out. Not just during the shows, but on your own time, because there's so much information out there that all of these sites have that's more than I could put into an eternity of shows probably. There's just so much out there. So just check them out, support them, help keep their lights on. Your traffic does equal revenue, and these sites are amazing, and we definitely want to give them as much props as we can because they are just incredible. And so keep that in mind as you're hearing me read articles or reference stories that we're talking about. So the first story is coming from an amazing site that we use on every newscast, and there's no doubt why we use this site It's because, honest to God, it's the best news site I've ever found. and they do have a lot of strange news articles, which is perfect for this show. And I don't know how they do it, but they keep it really current, really, they're posting several things every day or most days, and the articles are really well done. So check them out. Unexplained-mysteries.com is who I'm talking about. And the first story is coming from the Modern Mysteries section. And I don't think I was aware of this. I don't think I was, but if I was, I'd forgotten about it. But here we go. It's revisiting the Antarctic door. What could this be, and who made it? There's a picture on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, of it looks like a door. It really does. It's hard to see. Doesn't look like any footsteps coming up there, but my God, that looks like a door. It really does. It looks like somebody's been snow blowing it or whatever. I mean, it could be anything. It's one picture, obviously a little grainy. It's not really pristine as far as the quality, but it's not bad. It does look like a doorway. But let's see what the article says. The image of an apparent doorway into the Antarctic ice has been picked up by news outlets for a second time this week. Back in March, we published a story about the above image of a peculiar door-like feature which was discovered in Antarctica by eagle-eyed anomaly hunters using Google Maps. Man, I don't know where people find the time for this kind of stuff. That's crazy. Who's got time to just sit and dig through these maps and look for anomalies? That's crazy. But anyway, it says at the time, the image sparked speculation that this could be a doorway to some sort of secretive underground complex. After all, Antarctica would be a good place to hide a clandestine facility. Yeah, it's international as well, so might be not subject to most international law and treaty. The Antarctic continent has been a focus of a number of conspiracy theories over the years, which claim of secret extraterrestrial bases, ancient pyramids, and other anomalies being nothing unusual. Some argue that it's the ideal place for alien visitors to hide their presence, while proponents of alternative history believe that Antarctica could even be the site of Atlantis itself. But does this door really have anything to do with any of these things? When we posted this up a few months ago, we received a number of possible explanations from our forum users, with some arguing that the image simply shows an exposed piece of ice. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it does look like it's ice. It was also suggested it could be the entrance to a seed bunker similar to the one in Svalbard. I think that's in Norway, the International Seed Bunker, which is a pretty ambitious project all out of its own. But you can view the precise location on Google Maps here. The coordinates are 69 degrees, whatever the coordinates are there. I'll put a link to this if anybody wants to check it out on Google Maps. You can certainly do that. Oops, what did I just do? I didn't want to do that. Let me just refresh this and try again, because that looks like I tried to paste something. Yeah, there we go. All right, copy, not paste. There we go. Now I'm going to paste in the chats. So let me do this. It is in YouTube and Twitch chats now. And I'm now pasting it into the Rumble chat. So you can check out this yourself. Check out the coordinates. See if you can get a different view, or maybe something a little more clear. Or, God knows, I mean, maybe it'll just get edited out. It is interesting, though. There's some watermarks on this picture, though. That's weird. What does that say, though? I can't make out what that watermark is up here and here. But there's some watermarks on this image that are saying something. Oh, I guess it says Google, something Google. So I guess it's Google just watermarking their photos for whatever reason. I guess, if they went to the trouble of getting it, they probably should protect it. But anyway, there it is. It's in the chats if you guys want to check it out. Isn't the government heavily guarding going into Antarctica? So many theories of what could be there. Cryptids, ETs, bad guys, World War II, portals, etc. Yeah, I mean, certainly I've heard those rumors, and And but I've also heard that, look, there's plenty of people that have been down there on expeditions, gone across the entire continent or large parts of it without running into any interference. So I don't know. I don't know if it's as closely protected as all that. It's just nobody really wants to go there, I don't think. It's cold. It's like brutal cold down there. It's like if you're outside exposed and it drops down to like 40 some or 50 some below zero, you're going to be dead in a hurry if you don't have shelter. So it is incredibly inhospitable, but again, I don't know. It's anybody's guess. Could be bad. Could be something going on there that we don't know about. I heard even like UFO reports when Admiral Byrd went down there. So is it factual? I don't know. I have no idea. But there's certainly a lot of speculation around Antarctica and what could be going on there. And you're right. It's anybody's guess. But anyway, that's the first story tonight. I hope you guys found that valuable and interesting. If you didn't know about it, you do now. There's maybe a door there. Now, what's interesting when you look at this picture, though, it does look like it's been shoveled out, you know. It does. Why? If this was just an exposed piece of ice, why? And what created this dugout trench of snow in front of it? It doesn't look like it would be that much of a, just this little bit of ice poking out. Doesn't look like it would be that much of a impedance to the winds to create this. It's like it's almost like there'd be a vacuum here that would be sucking this out as it blew over. But why? Why isn't it all just flat like this? I don't know. I mean, I don't have any answers. I'm just looking at this image going, how come though? It's almost like this is a cavern or something. And perhaps there's a wind that comes from inside of it. I don't know. That blows this out. Again, it's just speculative on my part, but it is interesting. I don't have any solutions here. It's an anomaly for sure, folks. And we just don't know what the hell it is. So, but you be the judge. Check it out on Google Earth if you so choose, or Google Maps, whatever, with those coordinates that are on that link. And white line across the top that's a watermark. Devin, right? You mean right up here? This is a watermark. It says some numbers and then it says Google. So that's what I was looking at before. There's one here and then there's one here. There's two watermarks that I can see. There might be more, but I can't see any others. But yeah, I don't know if it says 2024 Google, like a copyright thing, a copyright logo maybe. It might be. No, the actual frame. Where? Oh, up here? That's just the address bar on the top of the screen for the article. So like if I move it down, see, that's the address. The address bar, the URL, which stands for Uniform Resource Locator. A lot of people think it's Universal Resource Locator, but it's uniform. It's actually it's become universal, but that wasn't the original acronym. Just in case you're curious. I don't know why I got to spit out things like that. I don't know. Maybe so I don't sound so stupid all the time. Anyway, there you go. That's the first article. And there you have it. On the door frame. Oh, on the door frame. Yeah, I don't know if that's just some kind of light reflection or... yeah, good call. I don't know. I'm trying to translate chat as I go. It might be snow. It's hard to say. Could that be snow? Sure, I guess. But it would be much whiter than any other snow in this entire picture. Even these light hot spots are not as bright as this. So if it is ice, then it certainly could be a prismatic effect from the sun or a reflection from the sunlight. It wouldn't be diffused like the regular snow. It might be the actual light from the horizon or something. It's hard to say. There's no real shadows, so it looks like this is in direct exposure. I mean, there's some shadow here where it's behind this rock outcropping, but it does look like the light would be coming from over here into this and possibly reflecting back to wherever the picture was taken, which may be satellite. I don't know what it is, but anyway, just some assessments on the fly here. But that's the first article in the news. The next article is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. This one comes from Ghosts and Hauntings, and it has to do with a new series, or perhaps an existing series. I don't know. I don't have the BBC, so I don't know. But let's hear about it. Want to know? I'm about to tell you right now. Here's the story. On unexplained-mysteries.com, Ghosts and Hauntings new BBC series, Hauntings, explores familiar paranormal cases. There you go there. I mean, I like any kind of paranormal programming, honestly, even if it's maybe not real believable, because a lot of shows out there I find hard to believe. There's just too much activity going on. And if every place you go has that much activity, there's something wrong. That's just not the way hauntings work. So anyway, let's check this out. This is from October 16th today. Well, I think this is a European site, honestly, unexplained-mysteries.com. So I think they're a little bit ahead. But the 4-part series takes a closer look at some well-known cases of alleged hauntings from around the world. It's a 4-part series. Man, I don't know what's going on with the TV schedules, but it's like, I remember when I was a kid, a TV season was like literally most of the year. And now a TV season on a lot of networks is like 8 or 12 episodes. It's like, yeah, that's not much. That's like 2 or 3 months. That's not much episodes, So I don't know how they get away with that. I guess they're really milking it right now. But I remember when I was younger, man, you'd watch brand new episodes for most of a year. Or at least like 9 months of brand new episodes. And then you'd have the 3-month summer break off when the shows weren't filming, or they were filming, but they were in production and not releasing new episodes. So I don't know. All right, let's check it out. The 4-part series takes a look at some well-known cases of hauntings from around the world. With Halloween just around the corner, it's not surprising to see a flurry of paranormal-related shows making their debut on some of the most popular TV channels and streaming platforms. This latest example, which comes courtesy of the BBC, is entitled Hauntings and features 4 episodes which focus on a different real-life paranormal case. Episode 1 takes a look at the Enfield poltergeist, the tale of a family in Enfield, London, who in 1977 became terrorized by a paranormal activity that centered around 11-year-old Janet Hodgson. The case was extremely well documented thanks to the efforts of investigator Maurice Gross, and continues to remain a topic of controversy and debate even today. Episode 2 of the show is all about the real-life haunting that inspired the Conjuring movie, while Episode 3 looks at the story of the Edinburgh executioner, which saw paranormal activity ensue after a homeless man broke into a tomb in Greyfriars Kirkyard in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1998. The series is rounded off by Episode 4, which investigates a spate of mysterious ghost sightings, disappearances, and other phenomena in Lake Lanier, Georgia. All 4 episodes can be streamed now on BBC iPlayer and will debut on Paramount Plus on October 28th. Well, there you go. A few days before Halloween. Just in time to binge it on Paramount Plus. There you go. Okay, well, that's a new episodes coming up, I guess, dealing with the paranormal. I don't know. There should be a TV version of the Paranormal Portal, I'm thinking. Just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. There should be, but there isn't. Unless you're watching me on your TV, and then that kind of counts. All right. Well, that's the next article, and we got 2 more to go, so let's get to those because the news is getting long. All right, here we go. Another one from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this one is having to do with UFO. Actually, UFO, and this one sounds a little controversial. I don't know. Maybe they're a little privy to a lot of stuff, but let's check it out. Here it is from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. King Charles once piloted a prototype UFO in Canada, diver claims. Prince Charles. I didn't know he's a pilot of any kind. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I think most of those guys served in the Royal Navy and or the Royal Armed Services in some capacity or another. I think it's kind of a tradition in the monarchy over there. But yeah, let's see what it says. The unusual story is covered by a new documentary about the British royal family's connection to the phenomena. Did King Charles once pilot a UFO? Well, it might sound bizarre, but according to Mark Christopher Lee, director of a new documentary, The King of UFOs, the story does actually have some merit. Wow, I didn't know this. The original claim came courtesy of Canadian diver Dan Costello, who maintained that he had seen Charles, who was still Prince of Wales at the time, controlling a strange disc-shaped craft of some kind alongside two other pilots at Sandy Point in Nova Scotia. The object, which was clearly some sort of prototype, was described as UFO-esque and was said to have produced a bluish ionic flame which left the ground singed underneath it. Charles had purportedly been invited to pilot the vehicle, which was part of something called Project Serpico, while serving in the Royal Navy as a helicopter pilot. Well, there you go. Yeah, I guess he was. The craft had dual rotor blades like a helicopter, but would also just sit and hover in the sky with the blades not on and with no sound of propulsion, just a faint crackle of electromagnetism, said Costello. I don't think it was extraterrestrial, but it might be technology developed by, it says Nikola Tesla. It's Nikola Tesla. Who had a facility here, and now this was being used by the U.S., Canadian, and British military. The documentary's director, Mark Christopher Lee, claims that he has found evidence to support this. What if what we're all seeing in the sky and thinking are extraterrestrial spacecraft are actually just a secret, highly advanced earthbound technology, he said. What if Prince Charles was involved in this project? Does King Charles know the truth about UFOs? If so, he should release this truth to the public. We deserve to know. Well, as things stand, however, there's no concrete evidence to suggest that any of these events took place, and you can stream The King of UFOs now on Amazon Prime. Well, there you go. If you're really curious about the background on that, check it out on Amazon Prime. It's interesting. I don't know. I guess certainly the royals would probably be privy to a lot of stuff that the public will never know. So I think that's interesting. All right. Well, there you go. That's the third article, and we have one more because there's always more here on the portal. And by God, I'm giving it to you now. What the hell happened? Oh, I got to wait for my computer to catch up. There it goes. Finally caught up. I dragged a window and it created a white rectangle, but it didn't fill it in with the stuff yet. I did work on my computer the last few days too, trying to clear up some hard drive space and see if maybe that wasn't some of the problems, but maybe not. Maybe not yet anyway. All right, here we go. The last one is from Modern Mysteries category on unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is strange blobs have been washing up on Newfoundland's beaches. I was expecting to see a picture of strange blobs, but that just looks like a beach. All right, well, here, let's see what it says. Locals have been left perplexed by unidentified blobs of white goo that keep washing up along the shoreline. How big are they? I don't even want to speculate it because nothing I can say at this point is going to sound good. So I'll shut up and keep reading. Something strange has been lurking on the pebble-strewn beaches of Newfoundland, Canada, in recent weeks, and nobody seems to be able to figure out what they are or where they're coming from. Some have been likened to the mysterious blobs to solid lumps of vegetable oil, while others believe they more closely resemble a type of cooking dough used to create a regional dish known as tautons, tautons. Numerous possible explanations have been put forward, ranging from fungus or mold to paraffin wax, but so far, the mysterious substance has managed to evade definitive identification. It has even been suggested that it could be pieces of ambergris, or gris, I don't know how you say that, ambergris, a rare and valuable substance produced by whales, but it seems unlikely that so much of it would show up at the same place. So far, an investigation by Environment and Climate Change Canada has ruled out the possibility that the blobs are any sort of biofuel, petroleum, hydrocarbon, or petroleum lubricant. Marine biologists also seem to have ruled out that they are sea sponges or anything similar. The appearance of the blobs isn't an isolated incident either, as for weeks now, beachgoers have been finding hundreds of them strewn over a considerable area. As things stand, no definitive explanation for the phenomena has been forthcoming. Weren't we going to see anything? I don't know. Is this the stuff right here? Is this the stuff? Looks like an old Kleenex or something that's been in your toilet or went through the wash. How many people have done that? You got like a wad of Kleenexes in your pocket, and you wash clothes and you didn't empty your pockets, and you end up with crap like this coming out, and then white little specks all over everything. That happens to me quite a bit, actually. I'm always stuffing paper towels or something in my pocket. So there they are. I don't know. It looks like used toilet paper, honestly. I don't know. That's gross, but I don't know what else to say. That's the first thing that jumped in my head. Too many pita to clean after. Moby Dick casserole. I'm just going to leave that all the way alone because I don't want to go to the inappropriate land here on the show. But all right. All right, we'll just move on from there. There you go. There's some white blobs washing up on the Newfoundland's beaches. So what it is, nobody knows yet. Maybe we'll get a follow-up to this article sometime when they've kind of drilled into it, so to speak, and they can figure out what the hell it is. I don't know. It does look like just some kind of paper wad that's been in the water. But anyway, Pillsbury Doughboy deflated. Maybe, Devin. I don't know. One too many of those tickles, and he just kind of blew. That didn't sound right either. Never mind. I'm going to just shut up and close the article now before this goes any further into the drain of the gutters of my imagination. So there you go. Ancient TP from Atlantis. Yeah, exactly. How you doing, Tess? Thanks for coming in. Tess, I'm glad you got a laugh. Good. All right. Well, that was the news. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Found it at least mildly entertaining. Is it buffering? Damn it. What the hell is with my life right now? I don't know what's going on. I've got a fiber connection, a 1 gig fiber connection. So that shouldn't be getting buffering, and I haven't noticed any lag spikes. Everything looks good here. You know, it's just technology. Technology. It's always technology. But no buffer here. Okay, good. All right. Thank you, Sinfully Wicked. I appreciate that. I hope not. I hope it's not buffering. Right. Well, there you go. That was the news. I hope you guys learned something, found some value in this, and had just a darn good time. Let's get back to the rest of the show and figure out what the hell else I'm going to do. Not always sure myself, but that's the beauty of live streaming. We'll just figure it out. All right, let's get back to it. Oops. That was the wrong button. What the hell? Oops. There we go. I didn't want to relaunch the show, but my technology glitched over here, so it brought up a whole different page of buttons. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the news, and now we got a lot more show to get to here. What, you may ask? Well, that's a good question. Boogie down, Nathan Nate says. Who's that? Who said Nathan Nate? Okay. Squitter Hyena. I just get cracked up by the names in here sometimes. You guys are so creative. I love it. Ghost poo. Yeah, maybe that's what those white blobs were. The veil is thinning, and maybe we got the spiritual septic tank opened up. I don't know. It's anybody's guess. Just looks like used toilet paper to me. Up here in the inland Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of camp sites up in the mountains, up in the middle of nowhere. And you go up there and you'll be miles off of roads and stuff, but you find these campsites, and unfortunately, not everybody's really ecologically minded. And so they'll just pop a squat anywhere. And then when they're done, they'll use the tissue, and you'll find these balls of tissue that are very soggy laying around. It's like, oh God, you know that nearby there's a steaming coiler just waiting for you to step in it. And it's like, oh, so you always steer real clear of those. There's never good things there. But yeah, exactly, Tess. I'm sorry. I hate to be crude, but it's honest to God what you stumble into up here in the mountains. It's like, oh yeah, I guess they had to go. But you'd think they would dig a hole or something. No, they're just popping a squat wherever. It's tragic sometimes, but what people do in their moments of need. Bram Stoker would have had something to say about the ghost poo. Harry Houdini, not so much. Yeah, probably not. Harry was into a lot of debunking of a lot of claims. I think he was seriously interested in finding validation for those beliefs. It's just, I don't think he was real successful. At least not that I know of. He might have finally bumped into somebody that could help him connect and make, hear that secret password that he and his wife shared, or his mom. Which was it, his mom or his wife? Something like that. I don't remember. Anyway, I remember the story a little bit. I find it funny, but then again, I have a dry sense of humor. That's okay. That's okay. All right. I have a fun note to add. They think human consciousness comes from a different dimension. Might be a fun news read. Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes a lot of sense to me, actually. I don't think that we're of the world, I think we are conscious, the conscious soul that we are comes from maybe I don't know if it's a different dimension kind of thing as much as it is like maybe the root of all dimensions. I don't know, the divine mind, if you will, and all that would permeate. I think that's where our source is. I think. I mean, it's just my ideas, but whatever they're worth. Everybody's got ideas, and nobody's right, nobody's wrong. So, because we just can't prove it either way. So, it's untestable currently, with our current understanding anyway. But I used to think we lived in a dream state. Well, it's not probably. You know what was a bizarre but kind of compelling. I don't know if it would be a metaphor so much, but like a representation of what reality might be was something I saw on Rick and Morty. And I forget the name of the game, but basically Morty gets plugged into this game. And in this game, he goes through this whole existence from, being a little small child through growing up, having a family of his own, becoming old, and then eventually dying. And then he's like, oh, he gets done. He's like, oh my God, what was that? He's like, oh, you made it up to, 58 or whatever. That's a pretty good score. And it was just a video game. And it kind of makes you think, what is life like? Now, the reason that I say that I'm really spiderwebbing here, but there was a guy that was on Joe Rogan's show, and he was talking about a time that he did mushrooms. He did like 5 grams of psychedelic mushrooms or something like that. And the guy went just out. I mean, he was just like gone. And I guess he was gone for like 15 minutes. But in that time, he said that he was suddenly in another version of reality. I think he lived in a whole different, like under the ocean or something. And he had friends, and he had this whole like months and months of lifetime in this other experience. And then he came back, and it was only 15 minutes in our time that he was kind of out of it. But in his experience, he had like months or more of this lifetime being this other person in this other circumstance. And you think about the multiverse idea, and it's like, yeah, well, maybe that was what happened. He just got jettisoned to a different version of himself and just experienced that for a period of time. So crazy stuff. I don't know. It's really mind-bending when you think about all that stuff. So maybe when we dream, our consciousness goes to the other dimensions. I think that very much, Devin. I think that our dreams are kind of our glimpse into our multi-dimensional selves. We often think that we just exist here, but I think we exist as part of the divine mind. So we're a part of every other dimension, probably, and other versions of us may be existing in those dimensions. So yeah, maybe we just tune into those as we sleep here. Who knows? Great thoughts. Pretty deep thinking. Yeah, Tommy says, I saw that one. Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy, but it just goes to show you, that, time is a relativistic experience that I think is pretty much anchored to this reality, our consideration for time. But it might be, just minutes here might be years somewhere else in some other version of reality. We just don't know. So anything's possible. Hey, gang, Chucky came in. Good to see you. Maybe that's how past lives intertwine. Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer, and this is going to get really kind of hard to explain because I'm not an incredibly articulate person when it comes to trying to spit out these ideas as I understand them. And I might be really flawed in my understanding of these things, so please forgive me if that's the case. But there's something called non-Euclidean space-time. And it's the idea that all of time exists in this now moment. And our perception of time is us moving through our experience, or maybe it's a frequency thing. Maybe it's that as we go through this experience of life, it's like every moment from the dawn of our universe in the expansion to its eventual collapse is happening right in this one now. But it's our awareness that moves through this experience, this one now. And it's kind of hard to grasp, but I think there's something to that. I think that our measure of time is based on our understanding of moving through life and our experiences. But every version of you that there is, from your first moment of conception to birth to, your baby years, toddler, small child, teen, adult, more advanced adult, aged to elderly to your demise, is happening all in this one now. So I kind of like that idea because I think that if there is a God, and I believe there is, then it must exist outside of this construct of space and time that we understand. It has to be bigger than that. And so it's not therefore subject to the rules of that as we experience them. I don't know. It's pretty crazy stuff. Squidder Hyena says, I absolutely agree with your view. From what I know personally, time is an illusion. Yeah, exactly. And so might be space. We deal with, slipping through space. Like I've experienced it once myself, driving through a blizzard and being suddenly miles down the road from where I was. And it was coming up to a treacherous part, just to paraphrase the experience. I've shared it many times throughout the course of the show, so I don't want to get real redundant. But I didn't feel anything. Just suddenly we were in a different place than we should have been. And I was driving 5 miles an hour, only able to see just past the hood of my car. And so I was really crawling. There's no way I did that space in that amount of time. There's no way. But Sheldon was with me, and we both went. And he actually said at first, he's like, Dad, I knew something happened. I was like, oh my God, this doesn't make sense. And he said, Dad, what just happened? And I said, I don't know. But we had traversed several miles in an instant. Didn't feel it. Didn't feel anything. But it makes you think that, well, space is an illusion as well then, right? And when you think of things like quantum entanglement, how if you were to break apart an atom and had electrons on both sides of the universe, if you move one on one side of the universe, the other will move in real time. There's no delay. It's in real time. So that, how can that be possible? Well, if space is not really the firm, concrete setup that we think it is, maybe it's fluid, maybe it's an illusion as well. So I don't know. I love the slip time reports. Me too, Tommy. Time slips are pretty amazing. And I like it a lot. HCS4 says, the theory that life is a simulation is fundamentally flawed as it's based on the double slit experiment. The experiment itself is flawed. Is it? Okay, well, maybe you know more about that than I do. I don't know. I don't think this is necessarily a simulation, but I think, maybe it's just semantics though too, because I don't think that we are this flesh and blood suit. But I think we experience this journey in this flesh and blood suit, but we're something else. We're something more. We're not anchored to this little bit of existence. We are a part of all of it. So maybe then this is a simulation, but maybe not in a computerized sense or plugged into a machine sense, but maybe it's a classroom and this is the lesson plan and we're just a part of it. I don't know. You know, everybody has their ideas. And again, I don't pretend to be right. I think it's just very interesting stuff. When observed protons act differently, therefore it has to be accounted for in the scientific studies. The universe is aware of you. Wow. That's pretty deep. Very deep. And yeah, I mean, I love this stuff. There's no light particles, as Einstein put forth, as there is no evidence for it. There is only light waves. Yeah. Well, granted, I guess, but isn't that what, I don't know what the flaw is in the double slit experiment that you're pertaining to. But as I understood it, the waves became a particle when observed or behaved partically like a particle. But when they weren't observed, they were waves and went through both slits. But when observed, they acted like a particle and went through either one or the other of the two slits. And so I don't know. I guess if you have a link or something to more information on that, that would be very interesting. The answer to everything is one. Or is that one or an I? That's a one. Just a ton of energy in a fish suit. Yeah, there you go. Matter must be observed to be physical. Yeah, it seems like it. At least that's my understanding. We're ethereal, basically. Yep, Jaron. Good to see you, Jaron, from Supernatural Station podcast. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Thus, the point of the watchers. Exactly, Chucky. Like a pool of consciousness, Carl Jung. I'm falling behind in the chat. You guys are flying. Very cool. Let's see. Our bodies are made of light and affected by light. Something to think about. Yeah, that is interesting. Well, I mean, in all matter in its most fundamental form is energy, right? So, yeah, I guess light would be a representation of that, or at least an effect of that. But is light the energy itself, or is it just perceived as light? I wonder. Glad to be on, Brent. Well, good to see you, buddy. We are light. I agree. In a figurative sense, I don't know if what we are is really definable, but I think we have to put things in terms we can understand. And so that's where light comes in, I think, mostly. And I don't think it's inaccurate, but it's semantics kind of as well. But I don't know. Yeah, I think this is all fascinating. Fascinating ideas, guys. You guys are brilliant. I appreciate the discussions. I love to think about this stuff again. You know, this is my journey as much as it is a show. So I love to hear what you guys think. Photosynthesis, HCS Forge says. Yeah. Well, we do need light. There's no doubt. I mean, I suppose we're probably photosynthetic in a sense as well, just like plants. We don't have chlorophyll to convert it to energy, but I think we need, we get the vitamin D from the sun, of course, in a lot of cases, or lack of vitamin D. Where's Sheldon today? Sheldon's got a whole life that he's taking care of. I don't know if he's still doing his other job right now or not, but generally speaking, Sheldon's on Friday, but he won't be here this Friday either. So it's just going to be a lot of me this week. So it is really heavy. You're right, Tommy, but that's right. We be deep thinkers. Absolutely. But I mean, this show is, even though the show is called Paranormal Portal, it's all about just trying to unpack what is reality, because I don't think paranormal is outside of reality. I think it's just another facet of reality that we just don't understand yet. And so, you know, there's just, and it's the breadcrumbs. It's the breadcrumbs teaching us that we have a lot to learn yet. And once we learn it, I guess it won't be paranormal anymore. It'll just be normal. But that'll be okay, because I think all of this stuff will teach us a ton of stuff. We're all learn from one another here. Absolutely. You know, we exchange ideas. You guys are definitely a part of the conversation. I'm not just a host that wants to just, spout off into a microphone for 2 hours and then I get to go. I love the idea of unpacking some of these thoughts. And I was chased by a massive moth once. They liked light. Just kidding. But I was chased by a fluffy, cute moth. Well, that's good. That's that. Yeah, the first story is much more sensational. You're right. All right. There's a rabbit experiment, gruesome stuff, but the mother rabbit was aware of the loss of each of her babies. I have many examples of these sorts of things. That's interesting. Yeah, it sounds fascinating. I mean, hey, what's the word that is good? Hey, unknown, good to see ya. It is a full moon tonight, isn't it? Yeah. Anybody's beards growing? Teeth getting sharper? Anything? Let us know. Make sure to report that. And get pictures. Love to see pictures. I'll feature them on the next show. All right. Maybe that's why we see the Mothman. Ooh. There you go. All right. It was huge, though. Yeah, there's some beautiful big moths around. I don't know. They're pretty amazing things. All right. What are we going to do now? The second moon messing with anyone else? I don't know. It's only 33 meters, so it's pretty small as far as moons go. I don't know what kind of energy it's introducing into the whole paradigm here. But how you doing, unknown? Good to see you. Whoa, everything went off for a sec. But yeah, certainly we do have a second moon right now, or a lunar object anyway, that's in a lunar path. But we're going to lose it pretty soon. Casey Jones Astrology, Atlas Comet is visible too. Is it visible now? Okay. I don't know if I'm going to see it around here because it sounds like it's supposed to be real close to the horizon. I think they say the best time to see it is... Oh, thank you, Nate. Well, I appreciate being among your activities, brother. Thank you. I thought that the best viewing times for the Atlas Comet was like early morning, just before sunrise, right on the horizon. But I don't think I'll be able to see it here because I'm surrounded by mountains. So I think the horizon is well out of viewing range for me. But anyway, yeah, maybe it'll be more visible at some point. But currently, it's lost to me up here in the north of Idaho. So, all right, what are we going to do next? Let's see. Thanks for the talk, though, guys. I appreciate that. I appreciate your different inputs. Okay, so we're going through this Today Show article. Yeah. All right. I don't think we read this one, so I think this might have been where we left off. But I want to go through a few ghost stories because it's the Halloween season. I don't know if it's really holiday. It is if you're into the practices, but if not, it's just a fun time of year anyway. So again, a lot of people believe the veil between this realm and the next realm is the thinnest as we get up to Halloween. And again, I always got to throw this out there because it is a belief, but there's other observations that state that the veil continues to thin all the way up to the Yule celebration and then gets thicker again afterwards. So I don't know. Either way, Halloween's a pretty special time and a lot of fun, and I like the vibe of Halloween. I don't like the cool weather, but I like the vibe. And let's get to this. And these are some ghost stories, so we're going to talk about some ghostly experiences. The first one that we're going to read today, now this is an article we've been plugging through for a few days now, but we're going to get into this one. And this is, it's from today.com. I'm going to just read this quick. I just want to make sure I didn't finish this article or something. Because I thought we went through this one. How many stories was this? Oh, I think this is right. I think it's right. Let me just get back up to the top for a sec. I just got to make sure because sometimes these are I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I'm just going to take a second here. I got to get up to the top because if this is the 9, no, this is the one. Okay. So this is from today.com. Yeah, today.com is the name of the website. And of course, this is from the TV show Today. And I got to get back down to where I was left off. Sorry about that. I just had to make sure because I knew we were getting into this article. I knew we finished one and we're getting into the other one, but I didn't know which one was which because I didn't want to reread a whole article that we'd already read, or at least part of it. So this is today's show website called today.com, and they have a posting, and this is from, I should have read this when I was up on the top. Let me get back up here. All right, 17 real ghost stories that'll chill you to the bone. And this article is from 2022 and was written by Sarah Lemire, Lemire. And again, this is today.com is the website. I'm going to go back down to where we left off. Right here, we're on a story now that's called The Kidnapping Ghost. And so I want to read this to you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it. Let's check it out. All right, here it is, today.com. And the story is The Kidnapping Ghost by Sarah Lemire, this whole article. On Monsters Among Us, a caller named Joe tells of moving to Georgia from California in the late 1990s. And soon after, he says his brother followed him to the Peach State and rented an old house built in the 1800s. It looked nice from the outside. It did not feel good from the inside. Yeah, I can't tell you how many houses I've been in that are like that. They look really lovely until you get in them. It's like, oof, something's not right here. And it says, according to Joe, things seemed off the moment he helped his brother move into the home. I walked into the house and went, oh man, the hair stood up on the back of my neck and I felt just ill at ease. Like this place isn't cool at all. It might be why it was a good rent. Moments later, while carrying items into the bedroom, Joe says he heard whispering. A heated whispering, almost an argument between two people that seemed to be hovering in the top of the ceiling area of the room, he adds. That's creepy. God, that brings back a memory, actually. I'll tell you that at the end. Joe ran out of the room and asked his brother if he felt something off about the house, too. His brother had picked up on the vibe, but assured Joe that things would be all right. As long as you're good, Joe says, he told his brother, I'm not good, but I'm going to help you. I'm going home. I probably won't come back here. And sure enough, Joe's brother began experiencing unusual occurrences in the house. The most alarming, however, was when Joe heard his young niece was found wandering alone on a busy road with her hand up in the air. Police and other agencies were called to investigate the incident, and when asked, his brother's 4-year-old explained that she'd gone for a stroll with the old lady that lives there. Oh, she just wanted to go for a walk, so we went for a walk. Given that the front door was too heavy for a 4-year-old to open by herself, no one could understand how she was able to leave the house. It says sort. The ghost radar says sort, S-O-R-T. I guess the old lady was sorting out how to get that kid outside. I don't know. It says sort. Okay. According to Joe, his niece said the old lady opened the door and then we petted the dog for a little bit and then went for a walk. She was so genuine and honest at 4 years old that he couldn't call her liar, Joe says during the podcast. Soon after, his brother moved and never returned. Yeah, absolutely. If your kids are being messed with, and it might just be a sweet gesture by this old lady who may not know she's deceased. She just knows that somebody's staying in her house, and maybe she's just trying to be a good grandmotherly figure, but that's creepy. You know, anything starts taking your kids out of your house, that's scary. Now, what I was saying is, I have an experience when I was younger, and this may be either a fever, because I was really sick at the time and had a horrible fever as a young child. I was probably maybe like 8 or somewhere around there, but or I was altered enough to hear it as it really happened. But I was laying in my bed and I woke up one night in the middle of the night. Everybody was asleep in my house. And I was just, I didn't feel good, but I felt really weird because this talking woke me up. And I heard these two people talking, a man and a woman. And the whole house was dark, and I could hear everybody sleeping in their other rooms. All of our rooms were right next to each other, and it's not like it was soundproof, and everybody had their doors open. So I could hear that nobody was up, but there was these two people talking, and there were voices I didn't recognize. They were very foreign to me, but I could hear them saying words, but it was like in a different language that I couldn't possibly understand. Everything they said, not even one recognizable thing was a word that I knew. I knew they were saying words, but it was in a vocabulary I wasn't familiar with. And I strained and strained to hear. First of all, I didn't know who it was that was in my room talking. I couldn't see them, but then what were they saying? And I couldn't make out any words that I understood. It was like they were speaking in a foreign language or something. I don't know. It didn't sound like anything I'd ever heard. I was only a young kid, though, in the Midwest, so I didn't really have an experience. But I finally got up the courage after being terrified to run to the wall and flip on the light switch, and I was yelling, "Who's there? Who's there? Who's there?" And woke my mom up. And my mom came in and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "There's people talking, and I don't know what they're saying, but they're talking in my room." And I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And then she put her hand on my head and she's like, "Oh my God, you're burning up." So it could have been the result of a high fever, just delusional at that age, or it could have been what might have been my very first ever paranormal experiences. But it was real. I remember it very clearly to this day. I can remember the tone of those voices to this day. But I can't remember, even as I think, I know I couldn't understand them. And I didn't see anything. So, true story. But, yeah, very, very weird. Could they be speaking backwards from a mirror universe? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, again, it didn't sound like, not like that. It sounded like a regular delivery, like I'm giving you now, except nothing they said was like I would understand. And it wasn't like Asiatic or something like that. It sounded, I guess, like our normal delivery of robust words that I'm used to. Not a lot of choppy, different words like that, or no roll R's or anything like that I recall. But it was just nothing they said was a word that I understood. Not one thing, not like is or and or the or anything. Everything they spoke was absolutely foreign to me. And it didn't sound like it was from a different part of the world. It just sounded like whatever they were talking was something I just could not understand at all. So, I don't know. Very creepy. Yeah. But that's a true story. So, I don't know. I to this day, I've always just chalked it up as a just having such a high fever that I was delusional. And it may very well be that. So, I can't say it's paranormal, but I wasn't so delusional that I don't remember it. I remember it very, very clearly. I remember just being terrified in my bed, trying to understand what they were saying and who they were. I couldn't see them. They weren't there physically. I didn't see any apparitions or anything, but I could hear those words like they were talking right next to my bed. It was more like up on the ceiling, though. So when I read that in this last story, it's like, oh, that brought back that memory. So, again, is it paranormal? I have no idea. But it's a real experience that I had. So, a very creepy story. The whole taking the kid for a walk thing is very disturbing. And it may be, like I said, it might just be a sweet gesture. Like, well, it's a nice day. Let's go out for a walk. Okay. The kid could see the presence just fine, but nobody else obviously did. Although it sounds like everybody was, aware of other presences. So this next one is the Ghosts of Stone's Public House. Let's check this one out. Considering one of the most haunted restaurants in America, Stone's Public House in Ashland, Massachusetts doesn't have a ghost problem. It has a ghosts problem, plural. Janet Morazzini? Janet Morazzini, a longtime resident of Ashland, is the bartender and manager at Stone's Public House, which was built by John Stone back in 1832. For America, that's very, very old. By European standards, that's pretty recent. But 1832 is not long after people started getting here, really. According to Morosini, even before she began working at the inn, she heard stories of the ghost of a young boy roaming the halls of the restaurant, which once served as an ad hoc hospital during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. It makes sense, Morosini tells Today. That's where they would quarantine all the sick people, she explains, and apparently quite a few souls have passed just due to that. Yeah, the Spanish flu is no joke. The inn was also the site for other untimely deaths, including that of a young girl who was struck and killed by a train while she played near the railroad tracks bordering the property. There's how do you say your name? Lucky Diamond? Or Diamond? Oh, I don't know how to say your name, but welcome to the show. It's great to meet you. I guess Lake Diamond. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I was being a little too literal with that just being one word. So welcome to the show, though. According to Morosini, a father and son visiting the inn stepped outside the restaurant to watch the trains, and after coming back inside, Morosini overheard the father reassuring his young son that there wasn't anyone else outside, despite the son insisting he'd seen a little girl sitting beside them. He's like, she's sitting right next to me. She was crying. You didn't see the little girl? And the dad said there was nobody there. It was just me and you, buddy, Morosini recalls. Other ghosts are said to haunt the old inn, including that of proprietor John Stone, who Morosini says didn't actually die there, but it's believed to be watching over the place. Oh, that's nice. I'm going to read that in a minute, Chucky. One night when Morosini was alone at the inn, she said she heard footsteps walking directly above her on the second floor. I've heard stuff like that before. It was just like there's no explanation for that whatsoever. I'm leaving, she tells Today.com. Still, she doesn't believe that the spirits have bad intentions. I've never had that scary hair on the back of your neck, gotta get out of the building feeling there. Yeah, I mean, again, I think if we all suddenly could just see all of the spirits that are surrounding us at any given time, I think most of us would collectively be pooping ourselves, just because it's like, oh my God, really? But maybe not all of them are aware of us either. Maybe we're just kind of in our own vibration or frequency or whatever, but still very interesting. Chucky says, I had ghostly hands grab my shoulder and chest today like a hug/embrace while I was working. 2 hours later, I smelled perfume while I was on the forklift outside. Oh, neat. That's interesting. Certainly, I mean, it sounds like a very endearing, gentle kind of encounter, but that's pretty cool. I wonder if it could be a guide or a guardian angel or something, or if it's just a loved one came and visited you. I don't know. Very cool, though. It doesn't sound like you were freaked out by it. It's just, but then again, Chucky, you've been around a lot of weirdness too. So I'll tell you, I in this home that I live in where the studio is, there's every once in a while there's activity. In fact, just a couple days ago, something was happening. Mrs. Portal and her friend were out in the kitchen, and there was a glass on the counter, and they were standing there. And I was in the living room just kicking back on the couch, and all of a sudden I heard the sound like ting, and they're both like, oh my God. And then Mrs. Portal's like, hey, come here, check this out. And I was like, what was that noise? And I didn't ever get up, but I was like, what was that noise? They said, we're just standing here, and the glass next to us just tinged like somebody flicked it or something. And, I heard it, but they said we weren't anywhere near it, and nothing else was. So, but they were in proximity to it. So it was like something just tinged it. Now it's a small, silly, insignificant kind of event, but it was like someone's just saying, I'm here. And I think that's a lot of it. But I will tell you that in this house, and I haven't smelled it for quite a while, but for a number of years when we've lived here, been here about a decade now, but a number of years that I lived here, I'm a very restless sleeper. Like, I'm up and down a lot, and I will get up at like 2 a.m. and go use the bathroom or whatever. And I'll walk through the house and I'll run into this wall of like, I don't know. It's like an old fashioned perfume, like a lilac kind of smell, but it's a perfume. And I know I don't have anything like that, no lilac candles or anything like that, but it would just be this transient smell that I would go through and say, oh. And I figure, well, maybe there's an old lady that lived here because this house is very old. It was probably about 1890s or 1900, early 1900s that this house was built. So it's probably got quite a bit of history. And actually, it's got a lot of history, and I know some of the history. But that old lady perfume, that old fashioned perfume, is such a profound thing. And I think that honestly, I think that's one of the ways that spirits try to let us know they're here is because, you know, they only have so many methodologies to make their presence known. And I don't think most of them want to raise hell, you know, and cause trouble and freak people out. So one of the gentlest ways is just a smell, you know, create a smell. And they seem to be able to do that to manifest some kind of sensory experience for us to know, hey, that's unusual. And maybe that's just like, yeah, okay, you know, I'm here now. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys think of that, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. Men respond to scents way more than women. Yeah, I suppose, you know, what's burning is my big one. What's burning? What are you cooking? You better flip that. Or who used the bathroom last? My interesting story was my grandpa passed away, and we didn't know that yet. I was hanging out at my brother's, and at 2 in the morning, when he passed away, the same time I hear a voice say, Jaron. Oh, that's cool. Wow. It literally sounded like him, but younger, like in his 30s. And it reminded me of my cousin, actually. Many times on the show, I've told you that I've experienced a lot of loved ones that have passed. Not all of them, but some of them have, I think, come to see me in dreams. And I think that that's one way that's probably one of the easiest ways for them to make contact is through our dream state, because we're not distracted by life. We're in that kind of relaxed in-between state and asleep, maybe in between dreams, just like idling or whatever. And maybe that's when they come through. But my grandmother and I were very close, and my mom's mom. And I really spent a lot of my youth growing up over at her house because she lived right across the street. And we lived very rurally, so there's like nothing going on. I'd just go over and hang out with Grandma and just kick back, and she would always dote on me. It was really nice. She was just such a doting, loving person. Well, it was really hard when she finally did pass. She had, unfortunately, dementia at the end, and that was real tough because she didn't know us real well, and that was painful. But anyway, she passed. Now, my family has never been big on photos, ever. Like, you know, I have a handful of photos from my entire life, and most of those are school pictures. So there's a smattering of pictures here and there, and I've got them all in a photo album, but it's literally only a few pages of photo album. So I'd only ever seen my grandmother as an older lady. I'd never seen a younger version of her ever. They never had pictures up at either my mom and dad's house or my grandmother's house. There was just no younger pictures up. It was just more current pictures. Like my grandma had a picture or two up from when she'd go to Arizona with her family members. They would do it kind of annually. So she'd have a few of those pictures up. But in my dream one night after she passed, I found myself sitting in her living room, like in the chair that I always sat in and watched TV. And I was sitting there, and there was like a footstool in front of me, and she walked around the corner and as the older version of her and sat down in front of me. And as she sat there, she sat down, she was smiling, very, very lovely visage, and it was wonderful to see her. And I knew that I was I knew that I was aware. It was very lucid is what I'm trying to say. But as she sat there in front of me, she transformed from the older woman that I knew all my life, and she progressively became younger and younger in front of me until she was this stunning younger woman, like maybe 20s or 30s. She had longer black hair. It was kind of curly, and she was beautiful. And I was like, oh my God. And she said, I just want you to know that I'm okay. And you can tell everybody I'm okay. Everything's fine. It's wonderful. And then she said, you can tell your uncle if you want, but he won't believe you anyway, which was funny, because my grandma had a kind of a wry sense of humor like that. So I thought that was really neat. But I'd never seen her like that before. And it was like, I don't know. I mean, I told my mom about it after it happened. I'm like, hey, I think I saw grandma in my dream, but she looked really different. She got younger. And it was when we were cleaning out her house. And in some drawer somewhere, there was some old pictures of her and my mom as a baby and a young child and my grandmother holding her. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what she looked like in my dream. And it really made it real to me. Like I finally saw her as a younger woman, dark hair, curly, very, very striking lady. And it was real. I mean, that's what I saw. So I thought that was really neat that's how she transformed in my dream. And then I ended up seeing another actual representation of her as a younger woman, and it's exactly what she looked like. So it made it much more real to me rather than, hey, was this a real thing, or is this me coping with the loss of my grandmother? But I think it was real. I heard about a story in a nursing home where a lady was able to transfigure himself younger during episodes. New meaning to only as young as you feel. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I've never heard that story. If you ever find links to stuff like that, folks, just feel free to send it to me. Paranormalportalradio.com. I'll be happy to cover those things on the show. Those sound like wonderful stories. No way, this is so cool. See, these kind of talks are so cool because there's so much negativity in the spiritual world. And it's nice to have these cool conversations sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. I know that generally speaking, most of the paranormal stuff that we or most anybody else covers is all the really creepy, horrible stuff, the really scary, twisted kind of stories. And those are interesting in their own right, but they're also concerning. So it's nice when there's positive stories. It's like, because I think there's a lot of those wonderful stories out there. It's just, they're not as sensational or probably as popular because most people don't pay attention to those as much as they do. Yeah, but let's hear about the skeleton in the closet or the Amityville horror type of haunts or whatever. And those are much more sensational. But I think these other stories are beautiful and I don't know, it just shows you that love survives, I think that's wonderful. Thanks, Drake. Drake says, beautiful. My grandma, I was close to as well, had passed at 2 a.m. on Christmas Eve. And after her funeral that night, she came and a friend spent the night. My grandma came and said not to cry. She was okay and with her sister. Oh, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's a great story, Sinfully. Thank you. My friend freaked out and left right then. Yeah. So your friend was able to see her as well. That's incredible. That's a hell of a manifestation. That's amazing. Yep. Bastet and Sekhmet are two different deities from Egyptian. Yeah. Brent, I still it scrolled. Brent, I still love watching those angel stories on Unsolved Mysteries in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, those are wonderful. I wish there was more of those. I try to cover them when I can find them. But again, if you guys find any uplifting stories, I'd love for you to send them to me. I'd love to cover more of those. But I only have so much time in my weeks to really farm, for new sources and stories and stuff like that. So if you guys find them and you read them, hey, send them to me. I'd love to cover those kind of things on the show more often because I think you're right. It doesn't get enough press. It doesn't get enough exposure in these fields. And I think these stories give a lot of hope and they encourage and reinforce a beautiful part of all of this, that it's not all creepy and scary, that it's also endearing and loving and it's wonderful. So please send them to me if you find them. They always had some cool story about an angel pushing a school bus out of the way from a kid. Yeah, I've heard many cool angel stories. There's one really cool one that I heard, and I don't know if it was an angel, but it sounds like it was. And the story goes that this, I'm going to paraphrase it, so I'm probably going to butcher it, but since we're talking about ghosts / positive stories, I'll throw this one out there because it's one of my personal favorites. And the story goes that a woman was driving to get to work, and she was running late, and so she took kind of a back road, which went out into a very rural community, very few houses, lots of forest and stuff that she was driving through to try to save time on her commute. And so she's driving along, she's late, she's pressed for time, and she's all by herself in this car. And suddenly her car starts blowing steam and it's overheating. And she's like, oh no, oh my God. So she pulls over and she's like, oh no, what do I do? I can't do anything. I can't fix this. She didn't know how to, take care of her problem. And so she was stranded out there in the middle of nowhere along this desolate country wooded, forest road. And, with only sparse houses every, so many miles or whatever between. Well, she said there was suddenly she looked up in front of her car. She got out of her car and lifted up the hood and saw that it was overheating and there was steam blowing everywhere and she didn't know what to do. But she said suddenly, as she's looking at the engine, she hears this voice behind her. And again, I'm paraphrasing this narrative, so I'm gonna do my best to retell the story as accurately as I can from memory. But so this voice comes up behind her, and it's this gentleman's voice. And he's like, oh, having some car troubles, huh? She's like, yeah, I just broke down. I don't know what to do. It's just overheating, and I don't know how to fix this. And he goes, oh, let me take a look. And she said that this thing was blowing steam, and the guy with his bare hand put his hand on the radiator cap. Let me just do this. Put his hand on the radiator cap with nothing, no rag or anything. With his bare hand, put his hand on the radiator cap, which is boiling water inside of it. Twists it off. It blows more steam. He's like, yeah, you're going to need some water. It looks like you lost some water somewhere, and we'll get you some more. So she said, as she stood there, he walked down and turned right up into this driveway and came back soon later, in a matter of minutes, carrying a bucket of water. And he came down with this, it was a specific bucket too. She was like, it was an old metal bucket. Looked old fashioned with the wire handle, but it had the wood where the handhold is and stuff. And he's got it full of bucket, and he's walking over to her car and he dumps the water into the car. And then he grabs the cap, puts it back on, and says, okay, well, that should get you going, get you to where you need to go. So why don't you give it a try? And so sure enough, she started up and the temperature gauge went right down as the water circulated. She's like, oh my God, thank you. And he's like, don't mention it. So she was in a rush, so she took off and left. And she drove off and went through her day. But after her day was over, she's like, oh my God, I got to go back and thank that guy and, maybe give him some money or something. So she went back home the same way she was driving, and she went along that road, and she saw where she had stopped because of her car overheating before. And so she stopped and she backed up a little bit and found the driveway where the guy walked up. But she said the driveway was like all overgrown with weeds. And there was this dilapidated shell of a house up there. So she got out and walked up there. She's like, oh my God, what is this? And then she said on the ground, she saw that same bucket with those same markings, but the bucket was old and rusted and had holes in it. So out of nowhere, this guy showed up in a house without any working electricity, any working water. It was just a shell of a place, and somehow came back with water. It was like she always said she referred to it as her angel experience. And it sounds like it, but it's a very cool story. Now, is it for sure true? No, I can't say for sure. It was represented as true when I covered it on the show years ago, but it's always stuck with me because it's like, what an amazing experience. That when she needed help, it showed up and took care of her problem and got her on her way. So very neat. I like that story. But anyway, hyena? Is there someone here named Hyena? Oh, squid or hyena. We both know it was. Well, I'm going to see what you said. Squid or hyena. My husband was kissed from behind by a dog of the same breed as his past dog. Looked just like her. By surprise while out at our storage unit. The odds of that are silly. Yeah, they are. She used to do this to us. Oh, very cool. We both know it was her way of saying she was still with us. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's wonderful. Brent, love this one. Where's this story? I don't even know, Jaron. It's years ago in all of my wanderings across the interwebs. I found it on some article somewhere. But I remember it was represented. I never have ever covered stories on the show that aren't at least represented as true stories. Like, I can't validate most of what I read to you guys. I mean, there's no way. But I will tell you that I at least try to only share stories that are represented as true stories, because it doesn't do us any good if we're perpetuating, hoaxy things on the show. That doesn't further the conversation at all. No, you can't blanket statement saying everything unknown is evil. Sometimes things that can present as scarier is actually rather well intentioned. For sure. That's a great point. I mean, everything that ghosts do to us, or in our experience, may seem frightening because something's being demonstrated that isn't supposed to be possible. So automatically people go to, oh, I'm scared, this is evil, it's got to be terrible. But it's not necessarily the case. Again, I think that in a lot of cases, and I know this isn't always a popular opinion, but I think in a lot of cases, some spirits are here for whatever reason. They might just be working through things before they make that final journey. They might not be able to move on because of whatever's going on. Unfinished business, tragic end, any other number of things. And then there's some things that were never people. But it doesn't mean they're evil. They're not human. They never were human. But they may appear human sometimes, or, approximate a human shape as being humanoid. But it doesn't mean they're evil. It just means they only have a limited ways of making themselves known. HCS Forge says, are shadow people negative? I never felt that they are when I've seen them. Okay, well, that's an interesting take. I got to tell you, this is something I've talked about several times, and it was actually something Don found years ago when he was listening to Art Bell's Coast to Coast, from back in the day. Don always liked to listen to Coast Art Bell years and stuff, and he found this story from Art Bell's show, and it was a gentleman who had trained as a shaman. I think it was Cherokee. I think he trained as a Cherokee shaman, but I might be wrong. But at any case, he was considered a shaman. He went through all the training and was gained that title. But he said on Art Bell's interview with him, he said, look, a lot of people consider shadow people as these horrible negative things, but in our shamanistic tradition, they're not negative at all. In fact, they're actually a very good thing. He said they are drawn to negative energy. He said, so if there's a place where a lot of bad things happen, they will be there. But he said they're not there to perpetuate it or to create more of it. He said they're there to cleanse it, that they do consume it. They do cleanse areas of negative energy. And so in that shamanistic tradition, shadow people were very, very helpful and utilitarian. Doesn't mean they're nice or friendly. It just means that they were serving that purpose by whatever measure you want to put onto that, I guess. But it's a great take. And I will agree with you that I've not seen shadow people myself, but I'm here to tell you, I've covered tons of stories through the years dealing with shadow people, and most people's experiences with them are not horrible. They're just kind of there, and they're maybe just observing, just watching, just looking, doing whatever. Maybe they are there because there's negative energy and they are cleansing it. They're cleaning it. Maybe they consume it. Maybe it's an energy source for them to suck up all the negative energy of a place. But if that is the case, they're a wonderful thing to have, because they will cleanse a space from dark energy or negative energy or evil. And that's a good thing. So I like that take. I can't say that it's from that belief structure, but it's a good take because so many people have seen them and they're not negative encounters. A lot of people wake up seeing the Hat Man is a big one. The Hat Man just standing by their bed, just staring at them. And the people wake up many times with the Hat Man, and then they get sick of it. And they're like, knock it off. Quit looking at me while I'm sleeping. They just finally make that statement. And they say that the Hat Man then just turns and walks away and is never seen again, or maybe rarely seen again. And so it does. I mean, if that's an evil entity, that doesn't sound like the behavior of an evil entity. It sounds like something going, no, okay, all right. I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you to it. But anyway. Oh, wow. Okay. I did grow up in a very negative household when I was a child. I saw them a lot. Yeah. So maybe that was what they were doing. And if they weren't negative experiences, I think that's fantastic. That's interesting, Brent. Solidifies that everything has its place to balance things. Yeah, absolutely. Great reminder for us to surround ourselves with positive people and deeds as much as possible. Amen. Words to live by. Absolutely. I mean, God, life's short enough. Don't surround yourself with people that make it suck. That could be presenting themselves humanoid to not scare us and be more relatable. Absolutely, Devin. Great thought. Absolutely. So I just think that, we're kind of on the outside looking into all of this stuff because we don't really understand it, but it doesn't mean it's evil. But that's a real knee-jerk reaction that a lot of people have. And I'm not saying it couldn't be evil. There's several things out there that I think are plenty evil. And, and I'm not necessarily speaking of demons. I don't think that they're the only evil things out there. But I will tell you in the paranormal, that's epidemic right now, how many people are claiming evil, demon. And it just drives me nuts because I think that there are demons, don't get me wrong. But I don't think that they're everywhere at all times. I don't think there's that many demons. I think that they're probably more rare that anybody actually encounters one. And if you do, you shouldn't be anxiously approaching that or looking forward to that, because depending on what they are, one thing that they definitely seem to be is incredibly powerful, potent things that you shouldn't want to meddle with. If they were angels, if that lore is correct, then they are incredibly powerful beings, older than time, older than our universe, perhaps. And, here we are, these toddlers fumbling away on this little rock in the middle of nowhere. I'm sure they know a lot more than we know, and they are very good at what they do. So, but I just think it's epidemic in paranormal circles. Demon this, demon that. I think it's street cred, honestly, and I've said this many times, but I think it's street cred. Sounds impressive. Yeah, we dealt with a demon. That was a tough one. That was a tough case. It's like, really? How do you know? How do you know that was a demon? And it, I don't know. It's not something you're going to deal with in just a quick visit. That's for sure. Stare too long into the abyss and it stares back. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is consciousness everywhere. And you don't challenge I always say don't challenge the universe, because sometimes the universe answers. And I don't mean God sends stuff to us, in that regard. But I'm just thinking, if you put it out there that you're something else and that you're so great, something might respond. So you don't provoke things that you don't understand. But anyway, that's my take on it. Demons are more dramatic than Aunt Sally. More clicks. Absolutely, Annie. That's exactly right. Sounds way more interesting and gets a lot more people clicking on your videos to say demon when we were camping. There's one creator, and I'm not going to name him, but everything he puts out is demon somewhere, demon something, demon house, demon in the graveyard, demon camping, demon. It's like, oh God, it drives me nuts. My one and only shadow person experience was not negative, weirdly comforting, but I turned away and pretended I did not see it. Natives are taught not to acknowledge things. Oh, fair enough. I mean, sure. And honestly, the native wisdoms are wonderful. I always pay attention to First Nations ideas and ideologies, because I think there were people that lived in balance, with the world around them for thousands of years and long histories and very spiritual. Those two priests going around the YouTube podcast world for sure. I believe some of it, but yeah, I agree with the street cred. Yeah. I know who you're talking about, Brent. Well, actually, there's a few of them, but I was thinking of one individual specifically. It's just everything he puts out is demon this, demon that. It's like, come on. And I'll tell you what, another thing that's a big red flag for me, and I don't know how many of you guys do paranormal investigating, and maybe some of you do, but if you're truly out there investigating, everywhere you go, doors don't slam, and everywhere you go, glasses don't fly off the counter and shatter or off a mantle or something. I mean, those are such rare occurrences when you're investigating. Those are incredibly rare events. But when you watch some of these shows, like every place they go, there's shattering glass, there's throwing things, there's slamming doors. And it's like, really? Well, they should be bringing MIT with them then too, because if they're able to find that much activity, then there'd be a great opportunity for some scientists to start studying it. Lots of Fae and elementals. Sure. Absolutely. I do all the time investigating my thing. Yeah, exactly. I love investigating. It's phenomenal. I got to get out more. I just don't know. I'm kind of constrained for time a lot of times, and also opportunities. I don't have the time to hunt for places to go, but when I get invited, I always go every chance I get. Presence over by our tent and the motion light kept going off. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. Let's get to the next one here, and this is the unexpected passenger. What time is it? Oh my God, it's almost 9. I didn't get to many creatures tonight. Let's do one more here. Well, maybe we'll just do a couple more. I don't know how much more is left to this article. Looks like there's quite a few, though. Okay, I'll do one more, and we'll read this, and then we'll see where we're at with time. But the night just flew by. I guess I got talking. I hope you guys don't mind, though. I love these discussions with you guys in real time. I think that's amazing. Lethal force. A small amount of ghost poo. Yada Fuka. I see you over in Rumble. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you taking the time to chat away in there. That's awesome. Yada Fuka. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. All right, let's get back to this article for another one. The unexpected passenger is next. In the 1990s, Julie, a resident of Portland, Oregon, was driving out of the city to meet with friends when she found herself in traffic. The 18-year-old soon discovered that the cause of the slowdown was due to a dreadful car crash. And to her horror, as she passed the scene, she realized somebody had died. Oh, that's horrible. A moment later, there was a woman sitting in my passenger seat. And Julie says when she was on Monsters Among Us. Great show, by the way. Though she admits it sounds crazy, Julie reports seeing a woman dressed in work clothes sitting next to her. And despite being in complete shock, the woman in the passenger seat was even more freaked out. She looked like somebody who just suddenly ended up in someone else's car, Julie says of the incident, which sounds like that's exactly what happened. So it's fair that she would look like that. Panicked, the woman demanded to know how she got there and who Julie was. And it was then that Julie noticed that the woman had an unearthly quality about her and realized that whoever she just passed on the side of the road was somehow in the car with her. Ma'am, you need to calm down. My name is Julie, and I'm here to help, she says. She told the stranger. Julie went on to explain that the woman that she'd been in the car accident and somehow ended up in her passenger seat. Oh, she explained it to the woman that she'd been in a car accident and somehow ended up in her passenger seat. The woman was stricken. At that exact minute, they passed a clearing in the trees. With some encouragement from Julie, the woman peacefully looked towards the sun and then disappeared. In complete disbelief, Julie pulled over and convinced herself that she'd imagined the whole thing. Several days later, however, a story came on the news about a trucker injured in a car accident, and before they finished, they threw a picture up of the woman that was in my car and explained that she passed away in the accident. Julie says during the podcast, "It was unbelievable. It was just too much." Aw, that's too bad. I mean, it's sad. I guess it's a journey we're all going to take somehow. But, you still hate to see it happen to somebody that's younger. Doesn't sound like this woman was old or anything, but not that makes it any easier, but you know what I mean. People taken when they're young, it's hard. Well, anyway, we'll read the next one too. 852. Yeah, we'll read this one. The Ghosts of Shawshank Penitentiary. I guess this must be. They got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man outside with a little Ghostbusters smart car or something. Oh, that's a Cooper, isn't it? That's a little. Is that one of those Coopers? I think it is. Painted up like the Ghostbusters. That's awesome. All right, let's read this. The Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio is widely known for being the location of the classic movie The Shawshank Redemption. But the old penitentiary, which was shut down in 1990, also has a reputation for being haunted. Honestly, that's one of the best places to find hauntings is old prisons, reformatories, asylums, even hospitals, and even nursing homes, all kinds of places like that. They just seem to be hotbeds for paranormal activity. Home to some of the most hardened criminals, the maximum security prison was once the site of murders, self-harm. I don't know how you say this. I don't know. I hear people always covering up for that word, like they shouldn't say it out loud, which I think is stupid, but I guess you got to be careful on the YouTubes. And other violent encounters, according to Teresa R.G., I think that's R.G., author and paranormal investigator known as the Haunted Housewife. I'd never heard of her. That's cool. Wonder if she could come on a show. That'd be fun. The reformatory had this incredible vein of violence that ran through it almost from the beginning, rgtellstoday.com. You can imagine why a place like that would be haunted, she says. There's something negative there, and you can just feel it in your bones. And there are, in fact, plenty of ghost stories from the old prison. We ran into female spirits there, which I thought was incredibly interesting, RG said. One of them, she says, is likely the wife of a former warden who was accidentally shot and killed while pulling a box down from a closet shelf. Oh, dear God. According to RG, they've captured recordings of a woman crying and, on occasion, smelled rose perfume in the bedroom. Another spirit that's said to haunt the reformatory is a woman who sits in the prison chapel and cries. When you approach this woman sitting in the pew, she disappears. Other people have seen her walking. Then there's the malevolent presence there, according to RG, and with the help of a medium, she says she communicated with it, and he would literally be cussing at me, she recalled. While their sessions with the angry ghost were unnerving, it wasn't until he followed RG's partner home that they were truly terrified. One day, she saw him. Through a reflection of her window, she saw this thing in the back, this shadow figure, and she knew it was him, rgtellstoday.com. After seeking the help of a paranormal expert, come on, there's no such thing. RG says that we haven't seen him since. Well, I'm glad they were able to help her get rid of it, but that's plenty creepy. Yikes. Huh. Well, there you go. We ended up doing a lot of ghosts tonight. I guess I was talking a lot, but that's okay. I worked in a nursing home, and I was the only one in the building for 2 hours and heard noises all the time. Yeah, that's a big place. Nursing homes. There's a lot of stories coming out of nursing homes of people. One commonality that seems to come up quite a bit in nursing homes is when people are getting close to making the transition into the next world. A lot of times they see these little children ghosts, and they'll actually be several residents complaining about the children ghosts. Like, why are these kids running through my room all the time? What's going on? Or it's a little girl, like all by herself or something. And it's like, yeah, that's a weird omen. And I don't know what it means. Squitter Hyena says libraries, amusement parks, graveyards, prisons, hotels tend to be hotspots. Amusement parks, huh? I mean, I know that I've heard of a few that have had tragedies where they believe that people that died on rides or whatever are still there, but I never would have considered amusement parks. That's cool. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's kind of a newer idea for me. I can't go into detail. Happened long ago, but I never heard those sounds. I worked in a nursing home, and the sounds, yeah, from the nursing home, sure not. And that's nice to meet you, sure not. And everybody, Squid or Hyena, everybody that's new, thank you so much for coming in. I hope you get subscribed and keep tuning in. Worked during COVID. Oh, that would be tough. There are no experts in ghost hunting. No, there's none. There's no experts in any of the paranormal. There's enthusiasts, there's theorists, there's researchers, but to be an expert on something, you've got to be able to actively research it for a long time. And that means not just looking for ghosts or waiting to see an EMF detector spike, but being able to understand the phenomenon, being able to interpret what's going on. And we just can't do that for any of this stuff. So I hate that term experts. And it's usually it's not people naming themselves experts. It's other people calling them experts because it sounds impressive. Well, we got a Bigfoot expert on the show today. It's like, oh, really? Where did he study him? Because, as far as I know, nobody's actively studying these things. They're trying to find them actively, but yeah. Yeah, welcome to all the new folks. Thanks, Chucky. And special thanks to all of our amazing mods. You guys are amazing, and thanks for making the place peaceful and fun. Yep, I appreciate it. Just looking over at Rumble. Dog Diggers over there. Yeah, Fat Fuka. That's how I'm saying it. I know what you're doing there with that name, and I'm not going to say it. I don't need to be demonetized for rough language. Nah, I think it's okay. It's the first 18 seconds or something like that they worry about cussing. But still, people with dementia often revert to being children. Yeah, that happened with my grandma. She went into a teenage phase as, an 80-some-year-old woman. It was really kind of bizarre. It was tough. It was tough to, see her fade like that, but interestingly enough, it was almost like a glimpse into her earlier life, long before I was ever around. So that was kind of interesting, but it was also kind of sad because she didn't know us, and that's always tough. But thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Rachel, for posting the Discord link. And we'd love to have you guys over there. If you're enjoying the chat, if you like what's going on here in the live shows, then please join the Discord. And the link is in the description, or click on the link that Rachel shared in the chat on YouTube and Twitch. We'd love to have you there. What is Rumble? Never been there. It's another platform like YouTube that you can stream on. And so I've been multi-streaming these shows to YouTube, which is always going to be a home for the portal as long as they'll have me, and then Rumble, and then Twitch. But the Twitch audience has been pretty quiet. We pick up a new follower every once in a while over there, but there's not a lot going on over there yet. We haven't really caught much attention. HCS Forge, appreciate it. It's nice to meet you. And thank you for coming in as well tonight. I hope all of you new people will stick around, though. It'd be great. We do these live shows on the Paranormal Portal, these live streams, every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So I'd love to have you come back. Just subscribe and hit the notifications if you are going to forget. But we always start the shows at the same time, and it's always 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, on whatever platform you're watching now. So if you want to be here for the live shows, or you just want to watch a show that you didn't catch, there's only like 1,600 and some episodes of the Paranormal Portal out there. I think we finally successfully clicked 14,000 subs, but it's been doing the hovering thing back and forth. Absolutely driving me batty. It's absolutely driving me batty. But I just want to look right now to see where we're at, because it'd be great if some of you guys subscribed. Oh, it went up to 14,006 now subscribers. So very cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you to those 6 of you that came in and decided to be part of it. Hopefully it's some of you guys here tonight. But anyway, that's about what we got time for tonight. Great night with all y'all. Awesome conversations. Thanks, Devin. Appreciate it. It was nice meeting you. Thanks for coming in, man. That's really great. How are the ads on Rumble? About the same as YouTube. You can skip them just like you can here. So, but yeah, you sub. Thank you, HCS. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a bunch. But I can unsubscribe and resubscribe. No, don't do it. Yep. So anyway, that's going to be about the show. So I mean, unknown, if you want to get rid of the ads, just become a member of YouTube. Then you don't have to put up with ads at all, anywhere, on any of the shows you watch. Or I might be the same on Rumble. I don't know if there's a membership over there or not. I think there is, but I'm newer to Rumble, so I don't really know all the ins and outs over there. But it's a good show, a good platform. I like it. But anyway, that's what we got time for. Squitter Hyena. Again, don't forget to boop the like button. Amen. See, brand new, and he's already given great advice. Appreciate that. Got to hit those like buttons, folks, because it really does help the shows. It helps us to get, a little moved up in the algorithm. Maybe YouTube will promote the shows a little more. I just saw a skunk in my backyard, in my yard. Oh, that's good. Well, just don't piss them off, Devin. You'll be fine. They're not an aggressive thing unless they're rabid, but hopefully that's not the case. But generally speaking, thanks again, everybody. See you next time. I hope so. Again, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, live shows are happening. Love to have you come back and be a part of more of our journeys. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Less censorship on Rumble. That's true, Chucky. Yeah. They're not into silencing people, which is probably really good. I wish YouTube would figure that out and quit getting in the middle of all that. It makes it kind of stinky. But anyway, cute but stinky, Devin said. That's where I came up with stinky as I was talking. I was like, where did stinky come from? I realized I subconsciously was looking at chat and saw stinky. So there you go. My dog got sprayed by a skunk. Oh, God. A lot of tomato juice and citrus and stuff, and trying to break that down. Good luck. Twice in a row. Oh, my God. You think the dog would learn after one, but nope. Well, anyway, that's what we got time for. Anyway, thank you all so much for being a part of the journey. We'll get to the cryptids on Friday and have some robust discussion about Bigfoot, Dogman. I got a gnome story that I want to share with you guys from phantomsandmonsters.com, and got a couple from Sasquatch Chronicles listener emails we're going to go over on Friday night, as well as more ghost stuff and the news. So what's not to love? Hope to see you then, though, guys. Take care. Tomato juice just don't work. Well, it's something. It's because of the acid supposed to help break down that stinky discharge, but I mean, it's not like a one dose thing. You're gonna have to do it a bunch of times for it to work. But yeah, it's the acid in the tomatoes that helps break it down, I guess. Anyway, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Thank you, everybody, for all your participation in the chat. Those are some wonderful stories. And remember, if any of you guys have stories you'd like to share, just feel free to come on the show. I do a podcast. It's audio and video. But if you've got stories that you'd like to share and talk about things you've seen, I'd love to have you as a guest on the podcast. So reach out to me. Go to paranormalportal.net. Click the Interview Me button. And on that site, it's right towards the top after the banners. And click the Interview Me. It'll launch my calendar app. You can pick a date and time that work for you. And it's all pre-recorded, so no pressure. We can edit as needed or to do retakes if necessary. But love to have you on there, and you can talk about your experiences. So if that sounds like an idea you'd like to partake in, then God bless you. I'll be waiting for you. But anyway, I'll be back on Friday to talk to you all again. So until then, have a good rest of your week. It's hump day, so everything's downhill, right, towards the weekend, which is always good. But anyway, that's all I got for you. Have a great night. Love, 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 love. Love you, mean it. And I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.